I couldn't ask a stranger to be my date. It didn't matter how desperate I was. I'd just take the stick from my mother instead. Or I'd claim my non-existent date had a family emergency and couldn't make it. I sure as hell couldn't ask Mr. Hottie McTottie with the body of a Greek god to come with me. If I was honest with myself, my mother would take one look at him and know it wasn't real. I was nowhere near put together enough to get a guy like him. Hell, it was 7:30 in the morning, and I was standing, staring at him, wearing a graphic tee that proclaimed I ran on coffee, chaos, and cuss words. I'd worn it to the bar last night, too. That was how fancy I was. In my defense, it was only supposed to be one drink, and it was all my best friend's fault. If my best friend Avery hadn't taken us to the place with a happy hour, well, it didn't matter now. Unless someone invented time travel in the next 2.5 seconds, this was the situation I was stuck with. Now, how did I write this note? Do you often stare at people while they sleep? I jumped, pressing my hand to my chest. Apparently, I'd zoned out while staring at Hottie McTottie at some point during my inner monologue, and he'd woken up. Well, shit. Now this was awkward. Queen of Awkward strikes again. Well, he sat up in bed, lips twisting to one side. I know you're not mute. If you were, you wouldn't have made as much noise as you did last night. I opened my mouth, but my cheeks burned hot before I could say anything. Hottie McTottie chuckled. Sorry, I thought you might shoot me down, and I'm trying to get you to speak. He paused, his dark blue eyes glancing over my shirt. Or do you need coffee to make your mouth work? What? There she is, he grinned. Your shirt. It says you run on coffee, chaos, and cuss words. I imagine you've got a few cuss words running through your head right now, and this is definitely a little chaos. He stood up, tossing the sheets aside, and giving me one hell of a look at his bare ass. And his cock. I blinked and looked away, blushing again. Why was I surprised? I'd been naked when I'd woken up. It stood to reason that he'd be naked too. Don't worry, he said, his deep voice barely able to conceal his restrained laughter. I put on my boxers. Yes, well, I cleared my throat. Sweatpants are on. Come on. He grabbed me by the shoulders and directed me toward the door. I'll make coffee, and then you might be able to string together a sentence. His idea had merit, not gonna lie. He guided me down the stairs, hands still on my shoulders, and steered me toward the kitchen. It was large and bright, with white cupboards and big-ass glass doors that let in the sunlight from the early morning sun. I looked out at the backyard. It was so male. He had a decent-sized pool just off the deck that housed an impressive barbecue area, and I was pretty sure I could see the corner of a hot tub on the other side. How do you take your coffee? He asked, reaching up to the top cupboard. His back muscles flexed as he pulled down 2 mugs.